Hello everyone, the season finale of Daredevil Born Again has arrived. Here are my initial thoughts and spoiler review. Daredevil Born Again, a series that started out so great and then eventually became mundane and had an action-packed finish, but overall felt like a tease of greater things to come in Season 2. Overall, I love that they finally brought back Karen and Foggy, what they did in the first episode, and while it was nice to be back in this world with these characters, it really didn't hold a candle to the Netflix seasons. If I had to rank all of them, this would probably be the weakest season so far. But it did have some great moments. The Hector Ayala White Tiger arc was great. The anti-vigilante task force, Wilson Fisk becoming mayor, and there's a lot of creepy, eerily parallels to our present day with current situations, but I love what they're setting up with like a Devil's Reign type of arc. Seeing Frank Castle, the little bank robbery episode was good, and then Bullseye. Last week had an exciting end, and the action started right out of the gate in this finale, and you could tell what was the original footage and what was the reshoots kind of Frankenstein in there, because like the stuff with action in the other episodes, like the Muse fight in the therapy room, felt very much like Daredevil, and then like the first and last episode had a completely different tone compared to the rest of the show that felt closer to Netflix. I love seeing Daredevil here. The stuff that happens, I mean, with martial law going into effect, it's going to have like a Dark Knight Rises vibes where like Bane's mercenaries and the Gotham police were fighting each other. Matt's going to have to get the good police and maybe the defenders to help him out. Meanwhile, the anti-vigilante task force is out in full force, and I fucking hate that main guy. I really wish Punisher got to him, but to say the least, I liked seeing Matt Murdock injured, the henchmen trying to kill him, and then all of a sudden there was a power outage. I mean, that was just absolute insanity. And Wilson Fisk taking care of business and then having those loyal with him. The police commissioner had a horrifying death. That was some gory stuff. And then Punisher, I loved him and Daredevil teaming up together, fighting, and Punisher just like kicking ass and taking names. That was a great sequence there. The little reunion with Karen and Matt investigating Foggy's case, and ultimately Matt not being 100% to take on the anti-vigilante task force. He needs an army. So this was a lot of build-up for what was to come. The Punisher gets his moment to shine. My only one nitpick though, and I know that the anti-vigilante task force is out there, but that just seemed kind of stupid of Punisher just to go there and fight all those guys with just a pistol and stuff. Like, I think he would have been more heavily armed, more heavily prepared. That's one moment I didn't like, and then him getting beat up. I mean, it's possible with that many guys because he is just a man, but Punisher would be better. I don't see Punisher from the Netflix show making that kind of mistake, but I did love the stuff there. Seeing all the enemies, you get to see the swordsman, Frank Castle, and a couple of other people caged up. Vanessa and Wilson Fisk. This is the one time I have to say this show did such a great job, because Kingpin's a bad man. And I've always enjoyed his character, but this is like the one time where I hate him, where I want Matt Murdock as Daredevil just to get him. And who knows if his identity is going to be revealed, but it's crazy seeing the aftermath of Matt Murdock taking a bullet for Wilson Fisk. You think maybe he has a code of honor, he's not going to forget that. No, he attacks Matt personally in his apartment. And to me, that kind of justifies a lot of the criticisms people have of superheroes, like, treat them with compassion. You know, you got to treat people this way, even if they're bad. It's like, no, your enemies are sometimes they're not going to share your values or your compassion, and this is a lesson in that. It's crazy seeing what happens with Heather. I didn't like their romance as much this season. I did at first, but there just wasn't any chemistry. That random lawyer he was talking to in one episode had more chemistry with him than the love interest here. And after last week, I was just kind of done with her stuff, you know. I was like, I'm ready for him to get back with Karen. Or I would even accept Elektra at this point over that other woman. I don't know what's going to happen if she's going to find out Murdock's identity later, but overall, I loved hearing everything in its right place at the end. Nice musical montage. And it left a lot open for Season 2. In Season 2, of course, they're filming. Karen is incognito, so they might be on the run. I don't know if his identity's going to be revealed like in Born Again, but then you also have him in the black suit. You know, it looks like his red suit's painted with black with a DD logo finally. As a finale, it left me wanting more. And this is definitely one of the stronger episodes in the second half, because after the bank episode, The rest of the episodes were so abysmal, and the Muse story was so half-assed and rushed that they could have just got it done with on a Daredevil fight when he rescued Angela. So everything just felt very mundane and just not focused, where I was just like, I loved how it started, but unlike the Netflix shows, it didn't feel like it was a complete cohesive story in one season, and it definitely should have had more than just 9 episodes. The other seasons were like 13. I felt like it was just barely getting started, and I'm hoping that maybe now that they got past the Frankenstein footage I shot earlier, that seasons 2 and 3 would be even better and have more action and feel closer to Netflix. Overall, Daredevil Born Again was a fun experiment, and it was nice seeing these characters and this world again. However, it left me wanting a lot more, and hopefully we get the payoff, but a lot of Disney Plus shows, or even just in Star Wars and Marvel, is just, they're very mundane, and they just leave you feeling kind of empty, like that was it. I didn't feel that much progression, and I don't know. I didn't have the feeling I did when I watched the other seasons. So hopefully next year they continue the story, but they don't leave it hanging. Have a complete season where you feel fulfilled each season with a different story. Daredevil Born Again, I give this episode an A-, and overall the show itself, I'd give it probably about a B because of the later half. But it does have some shining moments, and the devil did get his due in some moments, and it's nice to see not only a man without fear, but a city without fear, and what will happen in the future, both in fiction and reality, so to speak. But despite all the crazy stuff, I did enjoy seeing Daredevil, and hopefully this gets people interested in reading the comics and revisiting the Netflix era. We'll see if we get the Defenders with Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. We'll see if we get Spider-Man. I don't know. What did you think of the finale, and what did you think of the season so far? What's your favorite? How did you think it compared to the Netflix shows? So far, for me, if I had a ranking, this would be dead last, then season 2. And then 1 and 3 can go like vice versa, but I probably have like season 1 and then season 3. And then Punisher season 1 was like my favorite Marvel Netflix show, hands down. So I'll be interested to see what happens in the future. Oh, and stay tuned for an after credit scene, because a Punisher does get to enact in some punishment, so to speak. So thank you all for watching the Daredevil Born Again thoughts the past couple of weeks. Stay safe and healthy. May everyone have a happy Easter. Check out these other videos for more content. You can check out my Season 1 Daredevil tribute with Won't Back Down by Fuel. It turns 10 years old today. Check it out.